Welcome back to Heatcheck Podcast number, what are we?
Six.
Number six. It's been a little minute since we posted last. We've been pretty busy, but today we thought we'd do something incredible and special for you guys. We have brought in New Zealand's very own, homegrown, a man that doesn't need any introduction from us, millennials, or I've just found out, actually, you told me I'm not a millennial, I'm something else. But I asked one of those bloody young kids today, I said, bro, I've got DJ Sir-Vere on. He's like, I think I know who that is. I'm like, oh my God. So this is if you're younger than 21, too bad, but this is the legend, New Zealand hip-hop icon.
A living legend.
Tim, introduce the man.
DJ Sir-Vere, the curator, I'll say, of New Zealand hip-hop. Would you call that an accurate title? Involved, I'll say, producer, DJ, catalyst, like Jay White's the catalyst of New Japan Pro Wrestling, New Zealand's world heavyweight champion, a catalyst of New Zealand hip-hop.
I was in the right place at the right time, I think. People talk to me about this quite a bit. But I think I was definitely an organizer, for sure. But I didn't mean to be. In fact, like throughout my history in Aotearoa hip-hop, I never meant to be anything. I think my mum was really good at organising things, so when it started to, take off or turn into something, I just started organising catch-ups with my mates, or then it turned into organising gigs, and then it turned into the hip-hop summit with 2,500 people, so it's always been a little bit, I never really, I know it's going to sound real cliche, but I never had any intention to do anything. I just am a little bit hyperactive, so I just need to keep doing stuff, Yeah.
Nice. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, man. You are our first guest.
Oh, wow.
You are number one guest. So you've made history here because, to our 200 viewers that we get on our videos, I mean, they're in for a treat. But
awesome, bro.
Look, I know that you are a man of many interests, and part of the thing that excited me getting on today was this is an NBA podcast where we talk sport, but Tim and I are also very, we also very interested in hip hop, music, rap. We're interested in a lot of things, and I have to do this. We have to talk about for about 10 seconds the NBA Finals.
Don't care.
What a performance by Steph.
Literally don't care.
I don't
What a
care
performance
either.
by Steph. Honestly, like to go back to butt in the point from the last podcast. Probably enters the conversation for top 10 all time. Saying as a Lakers fan, I'm not necessarily a Golden State fan, but
yeah. I look, to be honest, I'm with you on this. Where do you sit on
I think you're right. I just don't think that his performance was good enough to save the finals. No, I found this shit was boring.
Right, you didn't. All right.
I think one thing I will say is I thought it was good that a flagship NBA team was back in the finals.
Yep.
So having this, like whether it was the Celtics, the Lakers.
No.
Then whether it would be the Knicks or the Knicks, like real big ticket teams back in the finals is a good thing. But it just did not ring my bell. And plus, the amount of blowouts in those playoffs pissed me off so bad. Like somebody put somebody on their ass. You know what I mean? Like the lack of passion and like when I watched State of Origin the other night, that's what it's supposed to be like. I'm not saying it's supposed to be violent or aggressive or injuries. But when you're getting blown out by 40, punch someone in the head, please.
there's no drama.
Yeah.
Do you know what the fuck?
No, go for it.
Yeah, I just couldn't. I can't.
Or pull a Draymond and kick someone in the nuts, even if you're up.
Well,
so okay, you didn't like the finals. Is that just because your team wasn't in there and you're a bit salty about it?
No, my team suck. Have for years and years and years.
So they're the Knicks.
No,
They're the Clippers.
no.
I'm going to say the Bulls.
It's the Bulls. Yeah.
Oh,
The Bulls are my team, so I'm used to losing.
They were legit. I'd say we were talking about it on an earlier episode of this. I think in the first half of the season they were legit. I think they had the defensive chops.
What do you mean by legit? What does that mean?
We said that they were one of the most exciting young teams, didn't we?
I'd say they're on the borderline of contention was my assessment of it.
Contention for what?
Contention for
Early first round exit, yes?
I think they could have beaten Boston. The best version of that team could have beaten Boston.
No chance. No chance.
No chance. Anything Boston, he's just going to say, yeah, man, Breakers could have beaten Boston in that final. So that's just you're going to have to forgive Tim here. If it's Boston, he's incredibly biased. So, okay.
Yeah, I just don't believe in that Bulls roster even today. Healthy, I just don't.
Really?
So how do you feel about them maxing Levine? Do you think that's the right
That
move?
was a terrible idea.
Terrible idea?
Yeah, maybe I don't mean to be so negative, but that team is so shit. The front office clearly have no real actual direction. It's going to take decades for it to come right. And when you have a roster that has, I mean, DeRozan for sure, for real, but like Kobe White, really?
They got Zoe, they got Caruso, they got Zavine.
Those are pieces.
Are you listening to yourself? You just said they've got Zoe.
Those are
I'm
condiments.
not saying champions.
Those are condiments to the meat and
Those
sandwich.
are literally condiments. That's literally the sauce. Every team has sauce, bro. I'm talking about.
I will say Caruso started on a championship team. I'm just going to put that out there.
Oh my God, send him back there.
Yeah, send him back.
We'll take him.
Send him
We'll
back.
take
They
him.
get bounced first round again. No, sorry. You didn't even make the playoffs. You get bounced. You get screwed.
Sorry, when was the last
Caruso.
championship Boston won?
The last 17.
2008?
Yeah, probably. This is like you don't want to do this.
No,
don't do this.
and we're not. And thank you for bringing us.
Don't
back to,
do this.
Thank you
this
for bringing.
measuring thing. That's not a good idea.
One thing that I will do, and I can put my hand on my heart here and say that Kevin Durant for me, he is my favorite player of all time. I love the guy,
Oh my God.
but
Favorite player of all.
it's getting
It was Kevin Garnett too.
It's getting hard to defend his latest actions.
You go from a guy who's got heart like KG to KD. That's your guy. That's your boy.
KD is my favorite player of all time, and
He's allowed to have a favorite player, even how as terrible as
my favorite player of all time will beat any one of your favorite players of all time in a 1-on-1. Fight me.
I mean, my favorite player is not Wilt, but does he beat Wilt?
He built Kevin Durant will beat anybody in the history of basketball 1-on-1.
It's just utter bullshit.
Yeah. He's not stopping Shaq or Wilt. I'm sorry.
He's not. Shaq would basically break his arms.
He'd eat him.
Shaq will get stripped from KD at least 1 in 21 positions.
I don't believe this.
This isn't 2K.
No, 1 in 21 position. Shaq's not going 100% from the field against KD.
He is.
No, he's not.
If he's under the basket every time.
No, yeah.
Sabonis
So he's got to
stop
get
him.
there. So
He's got a point.
So he's got to get there. So
He could run away like the bitch that he is.
yeah, and
Keep running from the grind.
and he can run his ass away from Shaq, who's not going to catch him, and he's going to score.
Yeah, but he ain't going to score every time, which is clearly what happened this
Once,
year.
if
He
it's
will.
winners out, Shaq's not going to be stopped. He's just not.
So
Question, which year, Durant, are we talking, and which Shaq are we talking?
you give me any Shaq.
Any player of all time?
I'll say like 96 Shaq.
Okay, give me a list of. I'll take one. We've just debunked Shaq. That ain't happening. Give me one other player who's going to beat KD 1-on-1.
Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell.
Okay, stop. Wilt is the closest thing I think you can get
To unstoppable.
to stopping KD, but KD still wins because of the 3-point range.
I reckon that Bill Russell, he couldn't score on Bill Russell. Bill Russell's defense would kill that man.
They're the same
Real,
size,
for real.
and Bill Russell was
No,
an
KD's
All-American.
taller than Russell. Bill Russell's 6'9", KD's 6'10".
Yeah, but bear in mind they didn't count the measurements
Was
with
he-
shoes back then.
Yeah, was he wearing shoes or chucks?
Candles.
He's got his jandals on. And are we playing
The-
Tokai rules, or are we playing?
yeah, that's the rules. I guess determine it. If it's 60s rules, Durant's not.
Look,
not
anyway,
got a chance.
the point is, Wilt Chamberlain is the only other player I would give. I'd be worried to bet money on, but no one else. No one beats KD. And anyway, back to the story. It's getting hard to defend his latest actions. He left Golden State because
it was the hardest road.
well, no, he was in a worse position. People said no. Rings don't count. Go and get them somewhere else. He goes somewhere else. Oh, you're an idiot for leaving. You had a sure thing in there. So he teams up with the most cancerous of players on the face of the earth, and Kyrie Irving. Jimmy Harden runs away.
Can you blame him?
Yeah, I
blame
can
him?
kind of blame him actually. Although Harden wasn't the Harden we knew. He got big. I think anyway.
He did get a puck away.
He got a puck.
Remember that? That was weird.
He just wanted to go strip clubs and eat chicken, man.
Fair enough.
And that's all he did because he.
That's not the craziest thing on that team.
No, the crazy thing was Kyrie not playing for half. But anyway, him requesting a trade out of Brooklyn when I felt he should have at least run it back is hard for me to defend being him being my number one. But what do you guys reckon?
100%.
I mean, the thing is, so OKC, he got drafted there. He had no commitment there. He had more than given his input there. Golden State, I mean, if he didn't want to be there, that's fine. If he moved because people said, oh, your rings don't count because it's Steph's team, that's stupid. If he was happy there, he should have stayed
You've
there.
said that before.
I'm saying in the legacy,
What do you mean people-
they don't weigh as much as, say, someone like Jordan's rings or Russell's, like where it's built around that.
He's running it back. It's fine. I'm on his side. Please continue.
The thing is, he was the architect of his own demise. It was all Brooklyn. That move was entirely orchestrated by him. The owner was listening to him. Kyrie was listening to him. Harden came for him. And it's all fallen apart. Who's to blame?
Kyrie.
Who built the bridge to Brooklyn?
Kyrie.
Well, actually, can I add to that? Is that Sean Marks was a genius about a year and a half ago, and now he's a villain because he let Kevin Durant do what he wanted to do.
Exactly.
I don't really blame the front office there. I will say Nash is probably going to cop fairly or unfairly quite a bit of the criticism, especially with the rookie players now coming in saying they're groaning about being coached by him, which is just ridiculous.
Which is weird because they were happy as Larry up until when they all fell apart. So I don't know about that.
Yeah. Where do you think he ends up, man? Because
don't care.
You don't
literally don't give a shit.
You have to care. What if he goes to the Bulls?
No, he's not going to the Bulls. The Bulls already stitched themselves up. I can think of about 10 teams that have stitched themselves up.
He's on a
already.
contract for 4 years, and the Nets want a haul. I mean, look at what was just given up for Gobert. And you think KD doesn't get more than that?
Have you seen what the Knicks want for going to give up for Mitchell?
Oh,
if that's what Mitchell's getting, I have no idea.
Look, the Knicks are giving away assets. What makes a better deal?
We did a segment a few podcasts ago on why the Knicks suck and why they're forever going to suck. And that trade that I saw for Mitchell, I just shook my head because
it's their entire legacy or their entire future plan was just thrown out the window.
They do it time and time again. I know, but KD is not getting the, I guess, the ROI that people are expecting for him. Pelicans gave pass on him today for Ingram, Nance, and a few firsters, which
sliding, you can feel the air coming out of the trader.
Exactly, which I thought was interesting because
I mean, the narrative 5 years ago was he was going to overtake LeBron as the best player in the world, and his league was his. Where are we now?
KD was probably the best player in the world for one season, and that was season before last. In my opinion,
he looked good.
Yeah, I'm as much as I'm not a KD fan, he was legit and he looked better than Giannis did.
Yeah,
saying a lot.
And okay, so you don't care where he ends up, Tim. Where's he going? Do you think?
I think he's staying put. I think Brooklyn dig their heels in. I think the owners have too much to lose. There's negotiations coming up. There's a potential much larger TV contract coming, and they don't want a repeat of KD going to the Warriors in terms of cap spike. I don't know if Joe Tsai makes that decision, but someone's making a decision to dig in on this. And also, I don't think any team's going to meet Brooklyn's demands for what they want from him.
That's what I reckon.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, if a team offered the right thing, Brooklyn would happily get rid of him.
Look what happened with Ben Simmons. Remember, he's worth this. Actually, no.
That's right.
So I think the air comes out of that balloon. And
I think you're right. And I don't actually mind KD staying put.
I think KD and Ben Simmons could be
KD
decent.
Ben Simmons is worth a look. But the problem is you've got Kyrie. You've got Kyrie who wants to go to LA.
Well, hang on. What's your problem with Kyrie? Apart from the fact he's a weirdo, what's your actual problem with him?
Good. Okay, where do we start? My first problem with him, he is overrated to no end. The only thing he has to his CV is one shot. Admittedly, it's a pretty good shot. But it's one shot. It's a shoddy hit.
I don't know if I agree with that.
It's the shoddy hit that saved LeBron's legacy. Yes, agree. Now, I think he is too much of a drama queen. Every team he goes to, there's drama, there's issues, there's BS that's outside of basketball. I get it, dude. Life's bigger than basketball. But this is how you get paid. This is the contracts you sign. This is the stuff you do. You got to turn up for work. Sometimes I don't want to go to work and do my job. Sometimes shit happens in my life.
Let me ask you a question though. Would you, if we went back before he arrived at the Nets, would you have said the exact same thing you're saying now?
Because he was on Boston.
He's a Boston fan.
He'd burn me, buddy.
So he's already been through Boston by that stage.
Now, question: when you come to Boston, I remember having a conversation with you, and I remember saying, I just can't buy into Kyrie.
My memory of that is I thought it was an amazing move for you guys because you managed to get an IT who was injured. Not that anyone knew at the time other than Danny Ainge, but we got Kyrie, and I've just never bought into Kyrie. I just can't buy into small point guards in today's league. To be honest with you, I just can't buy. I can't buy into short players. A league that's geared towards changes to make point guards a more dominant type than they were before the 90s.
Are you going to say point guards are a more dominant type than they were in the 90s? Because I disagree with that.
100%.
How?
Steve Nash, Derrick Rose, Westbrook, CP, the impact they have
No, you said now. Steve Nash retired. Derrick Rose.
Okay,
hurt.
so compared to the 90s, I think a centre and wings were more important then. Size is more important now. Positionless basketball and the rules of them taking away hand checking, bringing back zone defenses, like gearing it to take things away from big men has made it.
Are you saying it's easier for point guards now? I disagree. Look at the shot charts and look at the shot makes.
The game's faster.
Look at shot makes. It's all 3-pointers. Mid-range is gone. It's 3-pointers and under the basket. Are you telling me that's all 100% facilitated by point guards? I'd say it's more your...
There's other factors to that.
Sorry.
There's other factors to that. And I mean, to go back to your point about the finals being a blowout, I think part of it is the amount of 3-pointers they're taking. It makes the variance of one team's hot, they're just blowing the other team out. And they're just
Have you watching the Summer League? Watching young kids jack up threes is the most frustrating shit.
Yeah, I hate it too. And there is a blowout problem. Ever since, and we spoke about this last time, ever since the 3-point revolution, that was Steph Curry, blowouts have become a problem in the NBA. I think there's a shot... who's the guy on Instagram who does really good stats? You don't like the guy.
I don't like him.
You don't like. You've said
statistician. I don't like. I think this is too big a list.
I forgot.
Hollinger?
No. It's a guy and he puts up shot charts on Instagram and it's incredible because he does deep dive on analytics and basically he's got this chart that shows. I'm going to find his name during this podcast, but he talks about how the 3-point revolution has just destroyed basketball in terms of watching it and fun and playing. But I disagree with your point, and I don't care if you agree with him, Phil. You're wrong as well. Okay.
Right.
Fair. That's fair.
So, something you might not know, Tim, and something that we're going to have to indoctrinate him on is NBA cards. I've been teaching him a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
I've been teaching him a little bit, but I'm relatively new in terms of card collecting. I actually only met Danny through card collecting, and it's a hobby of mine, but Phil, Tim, has been, I guess, what would you call yourself in terms of the card round? You've been in it for a while.
Yeah.
Since how long have you been collecting?
Well, I'm like, there's lots of people my age who used to collect back in the days, and then we left the hobby and came back again.
Right.
Yeah. So that story is like, it's generational, and you'll hear it over and over. The difference is money. So the first person I am was 25 years ago, and the person I am today has more money. So what you find is people come back and go, oh, I used to buy these cards, but now I've got a really well-paying job, so I'll just splurge all my extra money on cards. That's the difference. So
right. So when you first started collecting, are we talking like when you were a young fella, or are we talking?
I'm not going to divulge what my age is, but I started collecting and buying cards in 1991.
Okay.
Which is the inaugural Upper Deck set.
Yeah.
But my journey is a bit different because what actually happened, a long story very quickly, is that I started following the Bulls before Jordan turned up.
Oh, here we go.
So
here we go.
It's great being there on ground level.
So what happened was I fell in love with basketball when I was 9 years old at a gymnasium in Papakura, YMCA, and my sister
was the Y.
My sister was real good. She's a really good player. So I used to go and hang out, and I turn out. I love the game, but then they had this poster on the wall and had all these NBA players. So I figured out that on Sundays on New Zealand television, they'd play an hour package, like a half-hour highlights of the league, and then half of a game. So I started watching it, and then I realized, I need to pick a team. So not unlike this table here, I just got I got a magazine with all the teams in it, and I just thought I like the red, the black, and the white one.
Yeah.
So I picked the Bulls, and then 18 months later, they drafted Michael Jordan. And then
what a choice.
Yeah. So
what a choice.
I literally, if I had liked green, it would have been the Celtics. But it wasn't because the Bulls were better anyway. So I chose the Bulls. So what happened was then time marches on and then I start collecting cards. So Michael Jordan became my entire world. Literally, I became obsessed with him. I've even got a member's badge. Used to write and send them a letter and then they'd send you back a member's badge. So I'm like a Chicago Bulls member when Jordan was drafted. Anyway,
bang.
Keep the story going. So I got to the point in 95 where I was completely obsessed and a very heavy card collector. So I'm like, I'm going to go see Jordan play. Like, it's my one thing in the world. So I fly out in November to go see Jordan play. And, of course, in September, he retires. So I arrive in Chicago, and I'm like, oh, my God, all of my dreams have been crushed. So I went and I saw the Pippen version, the ugly Pippen version in the middle.
He had a decent season.
don't. Just fucking don't. So I went to that, and then, you know, I went to like 5 games and then came home extremely dejected, but loved the, you know, what I did. And then I went to all the card stores and I bought a bunch of Jordan rookies. So I was pretty deep in the game. Then this fucking guy unretires.
I'm back, baby. 2 words.
Like,
I'm
honestly,
back.
when that I'm back thing came out, I was destroyed. So I said to my wife at the time, I was like, oh, I want to go back. And she's like, are you fucking out of your mind? We're not going back. Just can't afford it. So I sold all of my cards.
And I'm going to assume you had some pretty good in today's
4 Jordan rookies. So I sold all my cards, went back to America, and then saw him play. But I saw him play in the flesh. So
Yeah, I was going to say that's
I'm cool with that. So then
that's surely a priceless experience.
it was, and you know, they played against Cleveland. He antagonized Bobby Sura so much that Sura got ejected, and everyone pelted him with shit on the way out. It was like the wonder year. So I have that, but it took me 20, 30 years to get over the fact that I stopped collecting cards. Then I started collecting cards again about 4 years ago.
Can I just pause you there?
Sure.
I just want to pull off. I just want to reopen this deep wound.
Thanks.
I was going to ask.
How much did you sell those Jordan rookies for?
I have no idea, and I don't want to go back there. No, honestly, I don't know. I can't remember. I know that they were. I remember I had them stored in like these big fat blocks of, like, you know, you have one touches now.
Yeah,
like these basically these cases that encase the card. Back in the day, you had these really big ones like bricks, and the Jordan card was inside it. I remember selling them. Yeah, it was like a screw down, but not not. Yes and no.
You had 4 Jordan rookies.
I had. Well, no, it's probably not right. I reckon 3.
3. Yeah,
Yeah.
but
Legit, the first thing I thought when you said that you were into collecting cards and you got back into it was like, okay, so did you have to sell any cards? So that being,
It was tough.
Tim, Jordan rookies are like, I mean,
yeah, I don't have context.
they've slipped a little bit in terms of value, but they, I mean, what did they sell for a couple of years ago?
Put it this way: if I still had them, I would get them graded, and it's quite possible they could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's possible.
Yeah,
it depends what.
100%.
But I did look after them. I mean, when I sold one of them, it was mint. I've got a photo of it.
Oh, do you?
And like, you know what? It's perfectly scented.
I would burn that photo. Oh, no, thank you. But I mean, look, we've all been there. I mean, Pokemon, for example, like, I'm sure some of us had, I mean, maybe not me, I was too blind. But
living life in toke.
Yeah, but I mean, Pokemon cards, first edition, like, it's easier to in retrospect to look back and go, oh, I should have kept those. But I mean, that's where I'm kind of at now, where I'm just kind of trying to hold everything in case in 50 years' time one of these cards are worth something. But
sure.
I mean, yeah, that's an insane story. I mean, one, I'm super jealous. I haven't been to an NBA game yet. It's on my bucket list of things to do. Yeah, I know. It's a big fan, but I just...
it's timing, bro. I mean, I've been very lucky. I've been to a lot. I've been to a lot of games. You like my LeBron James stories, but I have been to a lot of games because my work has taken me to America.
Yep.
So I've been, I don't know, 12 games at Madison Square Garden, Milwaukee, multiple Chicago games. I've been lucky.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your work, man, because you're you've got a really well, I think it's a pretty amazing job. But before we get the full picture of your work, let's talk a little bit about young Phil. And where'd you grow up? Where you from?
Kirikiriroa, where we're sitting right now, is where I'm from.
Waikato boy.
Hamilton, yep.
Nice.
So I was born here. My grandmother lived in Claudelands.
Oh, yes.
Which, for those watching, listening, it's about an 8-minute walk from where I'm sitting right now.
Yep.
So when I was about 1 or 2, we moved from Hamilton to Papakura, which is in South Auckland. And then, but my grandmother we were very close to my grandmother. So I'd come to Kirikiriroa, Hamilton, every weekend. Like every weekend. So out of 52 weeks in the year, we were here 40-something weekends.
49 of them, yeah.
So I grew up down here. I grew up in Papakura, which is, all bullshit aside, it's pretty rough. When they say the end of the tracks, it literally is. If you catch a train in Tamaki, it's the end of the tracks. It's Papakura. So I grew up there. I loved it. It was cool. I went to high school, Papakura High School. Heaps of cool people come out of Papakura High School, by the way.
Yeah.
Jerome Kano came out of that school.
Oh, yeah.
Mareko from Decepticons.
Oh,
Savage went there for a very short amount of time from memory. Oh, no, Mareko got kicked out for writing a rap about one of the teachers.
Who does that sound like?
Sounds
I don't know.
A bit like someone else.
I don't know.
Oh, okay. So Papakura has some. You've got a quite nice alumni list, do you? And so, have you always kind of had an affliction towards music? And
so my dad. Oh, my bad. My father was in a band from Hamilton and Tamaki called the Kinney Trio, and he was a performer. So I grew up as a performer's kid.
Right.
So I was always at gigs.
Yeah.
And then Dad became a DJ, a mobile DJ back in the day. So if you were, in 1984, if you went to Mount Albert Grammar in Auckland City, the guy DJing, playing the music was my father.
Right.
And the guy standing right behind him, waiting for him to finish, was me.
Right.
So I literally grew up as that guy.
And I'm just trying to picture that. So you got your dad. How old would you have been, like a kid?
I've got memories of me being like 7 or 8 and putting speakers in trucks. Yeah.
Right. And so when your dad's playing, you just sitting at the back. I mean, playing. What do kids play?
Nothing. You just sat there because there's nothing to play, bro. What are you talking about?
I was going to say
no Game Boy. Hang on.
Yeah, I was going to
no
say
tablet.
This is pre-Game Boy by about a few years, maybe.
Oh,
who knows how old I'm not sure. But what the birth of DJ Sir-Vere happens at Mount Albert Grammar when I'm probably 12.
Really?
Maybe, yeah, about 12. Yeah, I reckon 12. If I really, really dug down, I could figure it out.
And 12-year-old, you named yourself DJ Sir-Vere?
No.
Oh, no.
So what happened is my dad's playing at Mount Albert Grammar, Mags, very famous school in Auckland, and Dad's like, looks at me and he goes, I don't know what the fuck these kids want to hear. Like, because what happened was breakdancing had started to happen.
Right.
So I started carrying around a few records of my own, and Dad looks at me and he goes, I don't know what the fuck these kids want to hear. This is pissing me off.
So he goes, Bee Gees and ABBA, and they're like,
well, he's just playing pop music, but they want to hear something else.
Yep.
So my dad goes, you do it. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I played one song, just one song. And then it just fucking went nuts. And then Dad was like, I am thinking what he was thinking. I'm trying to figure out what he's thinking. I've never really asked him this. But in my head, he's like, you can do it now. So it started to be like, oh, no, you just do it. There was this set, I'd play Confusion by New Order, the instrumental, and kids would break dance and shit. And so I became that kid. And then I swear I just remember my dad just sort of slinking away from the DJ setup and sitting down and smoking and just looking at me going, you fucking do it.
Yeah.
Never got paid either.
Yeah, let them pay me.
That's a smart business plan.
I'll put my son.
I never got paid for that shit. I don't care. But that's when it happened. That was because when I started DJing, I was like, whoa, I'm watching my dad for years.
Yeah.
And now, I love this shit. By the time I was, 15, 16, I was a DJ by then.
And you would have been, for all intents and purposes, a professional by then, because you would have watched your dad for years. You knew every little.
Oh yeah.
You knew everything.
You had the craft.
You had the craft down because you'd done it 100 times.
I wasn't very good.
But
I wasn't very good. I wasn't good for ages, bro. I'll be dead honest with you. What took me ages to get good. Because, if you're a rugby player and you start playing, after a couple of years, you're like, oh, shit, you're intuitive, you know the game. Like playing basketball, like, oh, I can dribble without looking at it anymore. It took me ages to get good. Like, fucking ages. I was shit for a long time. And I suffered because I always had a DJ partner who was way better than me.
Was that not your dad? Someone else?
No, when I was young, I had this guy called DJ Crucial from Mount Eden. He was fucking way better than me. So I was always the shit other guy. And then when I went through the years that you guys know, like Scribe and all that, we were touring. I was always touring with Ali, who's my best fucking friend. But he's like so good, man. I was the headliner playing. I was like some bum fucking halfback playing with Jonah Lom, who was my support DJ, and he was like way better than me. DJ Emmanuel Bundy was my partner, like my DJing partner in crime, and he was way better than me. So it actually stunted my growth because I felt like I was imposter syndrome for ages and ages. It wasn't until not that long ago I felt like, oh shit, I'm not bad at this.
I don't know. I think you might have benefited.
No, I'm right.
No,
don't know I'm right.
Because there's a thing called the zone of proximal learning, right? And it's a thing with kids. And kids learn really, really fast when they're young because they're in a constant state of zone of proximal learning, which basically means they're listening to adults talk, they're watching adults' mannerisms, they're picking up things because they're at a certain level cognitively, but they're always expected more of them because they have to thrive in this world. You sound like you were surrounded by your dad, who was a DJ, then you went and you had all of these people around you who were so much better than you. I guarantee you would have picked up so much shit, like so much learning would have happened for you because you were in that zone constantly. It's probably the best thing for you because you weren't the best.
It's true, but I was trying to be good.
Yeah, like, I bet you were better than you thought.
No, I wasn't. I've been through. I've really thought about this, and I really looked at it, talked to the people involved, and like there's another guy. There's this guy called Sub-Zero who was a New Zealand ITF champion. I played with him. I remember being in Wellington, going, "I need to get better," and he's like, "Yeah, you do need to get better," and he was trying to help me. I just fucking wasn't that good, bro.
But you're in the right place.
I'm good now.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
It took me a while. I'm just being honest with you. Like, that shit was hard. Even right up into the first Major Flavors tour, the very, very first one, it was Ali that said, "You're doing a gig for this." I was like, nah, because I'm going to do it with you, and I'm going to end up looking like a bum in Christchurch, because the first ever gig was in Christchurch with him. And the whole time I was like, oh, for fuck's sake, man. It was like, you know what I was? I was Reggie Miller in those seasons where you just could not get past Jordan.
Right.
That's who I was. I was good. I was okay.
You're better than...
But, no, I was okay.
Okay.
But Jordan couldn't shake him. It took me years to get over that shit.
What was your dad's DJ name?
Richard Bell.
So they didn't have names back then.
You mean DJ, like proper DJ playing records, not DJ like
pseudonym.
At a social, he was just, but people had DJ names back then, but Dad didn't.
Yeah, he was just...
But my dad's the man on the mic. Like, you can't fuck my old man on the mic. Like,
okay.
He'd be like, watch this shit. And they do it. And I was like, oh, damn. Like, I'm not that guy.
Right. Okay. And so how did the name, what did DJ Sir-Vere come about? How did we get there?
Manuel Bundy found me that name. See, all these people so critical on my timeline. Because I used to work at a record store in Monaco, very important record store. And I had a DJ name that was really shit.
Oh, let's hear it.
No,
come on, please.
And,
humor me, man.
No, I didn't tell anyone this shit. And then so many people asked me, and then this guy goes, "Oh, you got incredible," because I had good one thing I always had was good records. Yeah. Guy goes, "Oh man, you should come DJ at this gig," and I was like, "Cool." And he goes, "What's your DJ name?" I was like, "Oh, da-da-da." He goes, "That's not your DJ name, mate."
Yeah,
sorry.
I bet it's something like Audio Slayer 53.
It's it's just not good. So he goes, "Go away and find a new DJ name, and I'll see you at this gig on da-da-da." So I went and saw Manuel. I was like, what do I do? And we spent a couple of days brainstorming, and we found it as a record. There's actually a song called Sir-Vere, spelt like that. That's a song, not a name of a guy. So I just stole it.
Sir-Vere, yeah, nice.
Yeah, but that conversation we just had is because I was not a good DJ. It's okay. I feel okay about saying this out loud. But Sir-Vere was right, because it was pretty rough ride. Do you know what I mean? It become like, hey.
I feel like that's a perception thing. So just for context, I used to live in Auckland, early 2000s. I remember coming into Beat Merchants, I think around there at the time. And like, I know for me and my peer group, everyone looked up to you. So it's like, I think it's hard to see the storm when you're in it.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But by that point, I was starting to get over it. Over the hump. Because I'm talking about my informed years. I was just getting brutalized by the baddest fucking DJs this country ever. Look at my friends, Ali, Raw. You know what I mean? Like, all these guys are like fucking legends, dude. I'm just this hoary from Kitty hanging out going, oh, I always had good records, but that records don't make a DJ.
Interesting.
I think the taste that informs it is part of it, though.
Yeah, of course.
100%.
Of course.
That's the thing. If you've got good records, you've got good taste.
That's true. But when you start DJing on a stage, it's different. It's like someone goes, man, that guy makes a mean album. Like, it's a great record. Oh, he's beautiful songwriter, da-da-da. And he gets up live and he goes, ah, and like, oh, shit. Like, okay, he's kind of good, but not quite. That was me. Like, I had all the good records. I had a good brand, but I was kind of like a little bit rough. That's why I call myself Sir-Vere. I was happy with that.
Yeah, fair enough. And that's, okay, so we've got...
I'm better now, by the way.
Okay, well, you see there's some track decks behind you. You're going to have to get on there and prove it in a little bit. But, so you're a young fella and you got your name now. And how was your first gig?
Terrible. Shit, so bad. Really, really bad. And I also used to suffer from extreme stage fright, like real bad, like vomiting and shit.
Jeez.
Yeah, I had a gig in Hamilton once and I just was real bad. And as a result, my performance would really suffer. But... fuck, it's the opposite now. Like, I just gagging to, like today is Friday. Next Saturday I'll be here doing a gig. I literally can't wait.
Oh,
so I've learned to embrace it. But at the time, the first gigs were not good.
And I've always wondered when it comes to DJing, like, do you just kind of, sit back on the night before and go, I'm going to open with this song, or do you just play stuff that, like, I guess you think you'd want to listen to, or do you try and do some field work and figure out what's on the charts now, mix it with some old stuff, or like what's the process of putting together?
You know what? No one's ever asked me that question ever in my life.
Wow, I'm impressed with myself. No, but how does that work?
It's cool. It's a winging it situation. I guess because I've never answered it. I don't know. I think
is it feel? It's like pro wrestlers, right? There's like Randy Savage, Macho Man was known for like choreographing his matches ahead of time, and some wrestlers didn't like that because you have to go out and feel the crowd and then react to it a little bit. Yeah, is it like that?
Fair, yeah. What I do, if you looked on my Serato on my DJ computer, I got these things called clusters. So I have like, if I'm going to play that song, I know that these two songs go together with it.
Just because of the beat and
because I've already rehearsed it many times over.
Right.
So if I'm going to play that song, I'll play those two and then figure out where to go next.
So it's like running a set. So you run the set, it'll get you to.
But there's like 400 of these clusters, and then I'll just go, oh yeah, that went well. Oh, then in my head I'll go, okay, I'll play that. I guess I've been doing this shit for so long, I can't even explain what the fuck I'm up to up there.
Right, yeah, because I think of it as an art form, right? Being able to get up and DJ, it's an art form. So I guess I was just trying to understand, like, is it something that you put together and every minute, every song is pre-planned and you just kind of get up and orchestrate it, or is it something you're like, yeah, like you said, oh, they like that song, I might play something similar, and so it's a bit more intuitive.
It's fluid. It's pretty fluid, yeah. Because sometimes you get to a gig, like last weekend I was in Blenheim and I did the Marlborough combined formal, and with kids you just don't know.
Especially this generation,
you just don't know where it's going to go. So I was kind of like, I'll play this. Oh shit, that didn't work. So I'll, go over here and then cool. So then
when you say it didn't work, crowd just flat or
kids are different. Like kids are different. 18 and under is a completely different beast from 18 and over. Because when you're 18 and over, you too cool.
Right.
Like just don't look like a dork.
Yeah.
When you're 17, you don't give a shit what you look like.
Just doing stupid movements.
So it's kind of like the energy you get off a crowd. That's why I like DJing out of Auckland. Generally speaking, I don't like playing in Auckland.
Why?
Because it's so stuck up, man.
Oh, really?
Well, cool. I'm one of them. Like, I lived there for all my life, because you always hear from DJs like people are too cool and look like people are way too.
They're worried about image and they don't want to get up and make a fool of themselves and dance.
What I find is if I play in New Plymouth, they'll be like, half the room is full of Aucklanders losing their shit because they're not in Auckland.
Wow.
I'm not saying that I dislike Auckland. I'm saying I don't like. I don't say what I'm saying is I dislike the
construct of it.
The construct is shit, bro. It's not good. It's frustrating for me.
Okay, that's super interesting.
I'm telling you, it's real, bro. Like
even when they're pissed.
I'm telling you, it's real. No. When they're pissed, it's worse because they sort of
bad vibing.
By the way, I'm generalizing. Yeah. But I'm staying in the DJ box watching it happen.
Yeah.
I will say I still have good nights. Like Sweatshop in Auckland, people will lose their shit. That's great. But generally speaking, Aucklanders are too cool.
Right.
And by Aucklanders, I mean anyone who lives there.
Right.
Like I know Wellington people that have lived in Wellington all their life, moved to Auckland, and then when they're there, like, oh shit, you used to really get on it, and now you're just leaning up against the wall.
Right. Oh, that's super interesting.
Because I feed off that shit. So when I play the Outback and people are going crazy, that's what I really need that. I like that.
Yeah. Okay. And so majority of your mahi these days in terms of DJing, is it festivals? Is it bars? Is it schools?
It's just anywhere.
It's anywhere and everywhere.
Yeah. It's literally anywhere.
And where's your best crowds? I bet you some pub in the middle of nowhere.
Blenheim. Blenheim is 100%.
Blenheim, shout out Blenheim goes off, does it?
Blenheim, the Yard Bar is the best, closely, if not tied with the Daily in Palmerston North. Those two places are the best. Sorry, everywhere else, but they're the best.
All right.
I would say that after that, it's probably Sweatshop in Auckland's pretty great. Kong in Auckland is pretty good. Outback in Hamilton's fantastic. I could go on for hours. It's great places in Queenstown.
You need to hit up the Trees Tavern and took it all, mate.
Oh, no.
I really think that would go off.
You just never know, bro. You just never know.
The Trees Tav, I mean, to be honest, I'm from Token. I think I've been in there twice, but I know it goes off, man. So, okay, now we're going to move into, I guess, what Tim's fizzing at the mouth for is early 2000s stuff.
Oh, yeah.
is this kind of the time you really make your name in New Zealand?
Yep, 100%.
And to talk us through.
Everyone made their name in the early 2000s.
Well, yeah, I mean, not to step on a bit, but I know obviously you've done the Aotearoa hip-hop, the music, the people, the history. Like, we've heard season 1 of that. That's awesome. I'm curious when season 2 is coming.
I'm voicing it at the moment.
All right.
If you like the first one and you like 2000s hip, the second one will blow your mind. The second season is better.
It's so, like, for me, I think I've seen interviews where we've talked about it. The thing at the time was always Scribe and Miracle, and like I think there was an extent to where people tried playing them off one another. But I mean, Scribe was an amazing just impact to hear someone from New Zealand who was that good. Like it sounds weird, but just hearing someone who was that good. I remember listening to Blood on the Barbecue mixtape. I think there was one where Miracle was rapping over What Happened to That Boy by Clips, and just absolutely killing it. Absolutely killing it. There was a line where it's like, to make you prove him fools hit the deck quicker than Yu-Gi-Oh, something like that. And it's just like he had bars, and it's like
talking about Rex.
Yeah,
He's
bars.
He's the best.
And it was
Bars, I think he's the best. No question. I got a freestyle he's just done for me, and on it shit will just blow your mind. He's that good forever and ever. Amen. I think that's right. You're correct. Sorry, where were you going with that?
So but I think the thing that sometimes, at least again, from my peer group at the time, the perception was, Miracle's like a better rapper, this, that. But it's like, if going back now as a older person, I've listened to some of Scribe's early stuff from before then, and it's like, you can see, it's almost like, I want to say like Jay-Z a bit as well, where it's like, they've got the lyrical chops, but then they like tinker with what they're doing, and it's like, it's storytelling, I guess, as much as anything else. And so sometimes there was a guilt to say, like, because Scribe was being successful, he's not as like lyrical as Miracle was, for example, which again, that's a difficult treat anyway. But I just remember these conversations I was having with my mates all the time, and like what an I guess impact it was to have people from here that were like in our minds as big as 50, as big as Jay. Like they were just everywhere. I remember, like I said, going through the Beat Merchants, hanging around Aotea Square. I don't know if I could have gotten to the Hip Hop Summit. I will say I did manage to try sneak into the 50 Cent concert. I don't think I got in from memory. The first one was there at the, I'm going to say Mount Smart.
Yeah, Super Top.
Yeah. But just, I think there's a little bit of nostalgia, but just how was it being in that, I guess, that explosion of what that time was?
This is going to sound real weird, but I don't know. It was just like a tornado, bro. They just did not stop for like 5 years. And because when I made the podcast, I had to go elsewhere to find out what the fuck happened. I can't remember.
Because just head down.
Me and Ali both don't even remember what year the summit was. We were on the phone like, because I thought it was on consecutive years. I thought we did it on 2000 and 2000 or something.
I feel like it was 2000, 2001, 2002.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. See, exactly. Because I don't remember. And by the way, it nearly fucking killed us. Like literally, Ali like passed out of the airport because it was just it was just a huge undertaking. That's my whole life around that time. It was just fucking the Boost Mobile hookup tour. The
Hook It Up
50 Cent tour, like, and you have to remember that because at that time, because I think I put it down to I'm a little bit what's the word? I just can't stop. I can't. Like, back then I looked at it and I was like, oh shit, I was doing a TV show on Monday. I had a full-time job at a shop. I was doing a radio show. I was making mixtapes. I was recording in the studio and then touring on the weekends. That was my life. For like 5 years, bro.
So there's no time to smell the roses at all.
Nah. So, and then also, like, people going, oh, man, you must have this master plan. It's like, fuck, we did not. We were just going.
Getting it done.
Like, so when you said the 50 Cent concert, I was like, oh, shit, that's right. Because when he was here, the big dog at Universal LA came out, and I spent time with them. Like, hanging out with 50 Cent.
How was that experience?
But see, this is what I'm saying. I don't remember.
So you don't even remember that?
Well, no, I do because I've seen
he's the biggest musician in the world at the time, surely.
When I interviewed him, after I interviewed him, it was a really great interview. And the guy from LA comes up and goes, fuck, that was a great interview. And I was like, was it? Because I was just
in the zone.
I was just going the whole time. Okay, cool. I've got to go back to work, and then I go to work, and then by the way, I've also had 3 sons in amongst all of this.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. So it's like I think I was spreading myself too thin. Great father, bad father,
a little bit burnt out.
Well, I even fucking stopped, G. This is exactly, this is what you see is what you get. So it's not like, heaps of people think I had this grand plan. I tell you who did have a plan was P Money. P Money was over here with a grand plan about what he's going to do, and I wasn't that person. I was just like the Major Flavors thing, I didn't even fucking want to do it at all. I had no interest in doing it because I was doing street tapes and I was selling them for $20 each, and I was going, oh shit, this is pretty cool. And then the guys from Universal were like, well, you can't really do that. You know, it's illegal. I was like, well, fuck, I don't
your taxes.
I will chip in on that note. There was a few times, not the New Zealand stuff, that I would have gone into Beat Merchants, got 50-cent mixtapes, and then sold them off at Marcelin College, not going to lie.
Everyone was doing it, bro. And it was fine. Because I almost feel like 50 would have been proud of us for bootlegging shit that was already bootlegged, you know what I mean? So, you know, long story short, when all of that was happening, it was just nonstop. It was, and then I was like, oh great, I'll do Australia as well. By 2006, I was like, oh, it's add Australia to the mix, and then I was like on the road in Australia for half the year back here. Basically, was flying every second weekend to. It was fucking crazy. Looking back on it now, I don't even know how the fuck I'm still here. So, but it was fun and it was cool, and I don't feel bad about it. But I can't, unless you prompt me, I can't tell you about what happened. Because I don't fucking remember.
That's so interesting because, I mean, Tim was right into that scene, you know, like he lived and breathed that stuff. I was a little bit less involved, and I guess I'll speak from a more of a casual perspective, but I remember that kind of that whole rise and fall, I guess, of that time period that you don't remember, that you really remember, and I'm just kind of thinking, well, from a casual perspective, I remember Day Hamor. And that song that come out when he's doing this,
he's got the
we gone rock, was that to me signified kind of the start, like a casual fan's interest, and then from there, I think it was from there, if my timeline's right, that's when kind of the Scribe, Decepticons, all that stuff was taken over. So for the people at home, casuals like myself, what was your role in all of that? So I know you don't remember.
No. It's like I said to you, I'll remember. It's in here.
Yeah.
But it's not until you tell me about 50 Cent that I remember.
You interviewed him.
Well, not only that, but I interviewed him, and then I hung out with Young Buck and Lloyd Banks for half the day, and then they were like, oh, come to Christchurch with us. So I went with them to Christchurch, and then I took a camera guy and we filmed in the crowd, and it was the most...
Okay, what was that like hanging out with Young Buck and back then? Because they were superstars.
It was cool. I remember because... I just remember now is that they asked me to present 50 with his platinum plaque for sales, and so I was the person that did that, and then I found footage of it recently.
Wow.
Yeah. I remember I asked 50 Cent because I didn't have heaps of time with him in an interview, and it turned into ages. And I remember I asked him, do you remember Ja Rule made a song called Clapback? You remember Clapback? You remember that song? No. And I said to him, what's worse, a dose of the clap, which is STD, or Clapback? And like I swear to God, this dude lost his shit. Like laughing his ass off, rolling around on the floor. And he's like, oh my God, that's the best question anyone's ever asked me in my fucking life. Da, 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 da. And that's when we kind of... one thing I'm pretty good at is interviews. Right. I managed to loosen people up pretty good. So that was cool. So yeah, it was amazing. So, and then afterwards, because I remember Don, the guy, he's like, you do realize you're hanging out with the biggest artist in the entire world right now. And I was just like, in my head, I was just like, I'm from Kirikiri, bro. I'm from Papakura, end of the tracks. It just doesn't... It was cool. It was cool, man. I wasn't... Because, you know, I know for a fact, what I can tell you about some people is they have designs to be famous. Oh, fuck, I want to be famous. I was never that dude. I mean, I might have ended up being that person, but I wasn't trying to. I was just trying to be more than some bum from Papakura.
From a casual perspective, right? You're hanging out with 50, Young Buck, Lloyd Banks, was it as well?
Lloyd Banks was there. Tony Ayer was there, but he was wasted.
You guys just sit. Are you guys on the piss, or are you guys?
No, he came the second time.
Oh, second time.
You guys on the piss? Are you guys drinking? Is there girls everywhere, or is it just sitting around a hotel room waiting for the next thing?
We're sitting around the hotel.
Sitting around the hotel, just
that night though at Fubar there was. I couldn't get a word to them because they were too busy.
As you would.
Yeah. Okay. Now that's super interesting. So,
but you would have liked DJ Who Kid. I still have a relationship with him to this day. He's cool. Like those sort of Green Lantern, all those Eminem's DJ at the time, those sort of relationships have kind of got me where I am today.
And I will say just quickly on Who Kid, it feels like his impact is underrated in helping 50 get to where he was.
Of course.
Putting it out on the street, putting everything out there.
100%.
So back to the question, your role for
the
casuals at home who don't quite know, because you know not a lot of people are. I wasn't even aware you interviewed 50. So, what was your role for this whole thing? Were you just tour manager for that 5-year period? Like, what was your job there?
My job was, I was the guy that the people at the top would talk to. So I kind of, between me, Brother D, Andy Dornraid, a few others, we were the ones that we were able to talk to, corporates and sort of allow relationships to exist, because we were just a bunch of hoods, kids doing stupid shit. Then the money turned up, Saatchi turned up in the picture, and it started to be monetized. We were the conduit for it to happen. So I was the guy with the TV show. I was the guy with the radio show. I had the mixtape. So what people have, I've never said this publicly before, but when I did Major Flavors 4, and someone did a freestyle on it, they got paid, bro. Like, really well paid. Like maybe $6,000 for doing a freestyle on it. Like, for dudes that, like, some of those people were like, he's cool. I'll get him to do a freestyle on it. That like paid for their whole year of recording studio time. You know what I mean? So I felt real good about that. I felt awesome about that, but that opportunity wouldn't exist unless I did it. So, for instance, there's this guy called DJ Pause from Christchurch. He did a scratch break on Major Flavors 4. The thing sold double platinum. He got paid shitloads of money. And he came to New York with me on one of my trips. And he still to this day goes, oh, remember that time we went to New York and we saw Jurassic 5 and Supernatural freestyled and blah, 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 blah. That was because of Major Flavors. So we were the vehicle.
Right.
That's what we were.
Right.
I had the TV. The TV show was huge, man. So,
I used to have a stack, I'm pretty sure, of like a suitcase of VHSs. I don't know where they, like a lot of the CDs from that period, I don't know where they exist between myself and my brother, but
the TV show was important because it was,
the impact. And the fact that, like, before my time there was True School and Recognise, but having it on C4, with C4 being so prominent, TV4 going away and C4 being like what everyone was watching and being on in prime time. And again, I guess it's what you've alluded to a little bit with parts of the podcast as well, but it's like when you felt like a lot of radio or TV, there wasn't something for you, for people like us in South Auckland, it's like, okay, we're watching that.
Monday nights, it was a real appointment. Listen, it was great. Plus, but what it turned into within the industry was people thought I was a gatekeeper. I wasn't.
Right.
I wasn't. I might have been by accident, but man, people always try to think, oh, he's a fucking gatekeeper. Like, for me to be a gatekeeper, I would have to think a certain way, correct? But I wasn't thinking like that. I was like, oh, fuck, I got to go pick my kids up from school. So what my career turned into, and this position I held, people would criticize me for my choices. People quite often said to me, oh, you didn't like me, so you didn't put me on. I was like, no, I didn't not like you. I didn't fucking think about you. I was like, I don't fucking know you.
Okay.
So that's a real important part of this puzzle, is people go, oh, you always blackballed us. I'm like, who the fuck are you? I don't actually know. Oh, you're that guy. Oh, nice to meet you. Right. How did you get to that point? Do you know what I'm saying? That's the curse of that position that I held, because I was considered a gatekeeper, but I wasn't. And I know that I wasn't, because the people who genuinely came to me in good faith, like RES, Breaking Records, Jared, all those guys, I fucking put them on because they were cool and they had good music. It wasn't about, I want to be the guy that puts those guys on.
Right.
And from the outside looking in, it never seemed like there was what you had overseas, where there was either beef between artists from outside looking. So you never got the feeling that there was some group that was being excluded.
That's good, because there fucking was.
Oh, right.
but that's a good thing that you didn't know.
It never came out that way. Like, there was never a case where it seemed like Dawn Rain seemed cool, Dirty seemed cool. Like, everyone seemed to be able to just doing their thing and not worried about that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and that's good.
Yeah, okay. That's super interesting, man, because that whole, I guess, from a casual perspective, early 2000s, Scribe, Decepticons, like I said, America, they were topping the charts and everyone knew who they were. And then a few years later, it almost had seemed to vanish completely.
Yeah.
I guess you've alluded a little bit to maybe work burnout, and I know some stuff's come up on the latest movie around money and stuff and management. What kind of happened? Why was it such a fast rise? And then what happened that it ended just as quickly?
Very good question. And I don't know how to articulate it, but David Dallas and Tom Scott, they succinctly addressed that in the podcast, but I can't remember what they say. But when they said it, the penny dropped for me. And in a long story short, I think that they were kind of like, it just had its moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like it kind of, I think that's what he said. David says it really well. I can't remember what he says, but he just said it had its moment. The funny thing about it is, while it was not having its moment, I was in Australia going hundies in Australia. So what most people do not know is I was convinced to do major flavors in Australia, which I didn't want to do. Typical me. They're like, you should do it in Australia. I was like, I don't want to fucking do it in Australia. And then of course I did it in Australia. And I had a number 1 album in Australia. People don't even fucking get. Well, typical way. Israel Adesanya wins the title again on the weekend and no one cares. What the fuck? Celebrate the... Do you know, like, someone else goes home with the title and they fucking have
it's not rugby or cricket, man.
They have a street parade for
no
Francis.
One wants to know about it.
No, it's fucking crazy. Anyway, I was in Australia, so when the demise was happening here, I didn't really see it.
Right.
Because I was already in Australia going hundies. And when I'm saying hundies, I mean, fuck, I was putting it.
And I guess you're in the world and you're already consumed with the word because it's something you're
I guess my perspectives may be different, but I wouldn't even call it demise because during that period you had David Dallas coming over from being Kansai, rising, you had PNC, you had Smash Proof. There wasn't a lack of content, there wasn't a lack of skill or like stuff going out there.
Yeah, but those people were always going to exist in your world because you're in that world, but as a casual, mainstream stuff you see all the time on the radio, that's what I'm kind of talking about. Like, because
it's a perception thing, I'd say. Yeah.
It was big. It was huge. And then it kind of just wasn't there anymore. But I guess a question I'll ask you that hopefully might prompt what David Dallas said is it because there was an attitude of they maybe weren't supposed to be there anyway? Competing with 50 Cent,
I don't think so.
No?
I don't know about that. I think that what you're about to say is that it's like any scene. Like, what's a scene that's not big at the moment? You know, like, what's something that was massive that's not massive now? If you're in a scene, it's always going to be huge to you because you care about it.
Yeah.
That's a difference between you two.
Yeah.
Is that you were, like, from a distance, all of a sudden it's sort of gone away. It never really went away. But the scene definitely shrunk.
Right.
It definitely shrunk, 100%, because the money went away.
Right.
You know? So it's kind of like, how far can it go? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I didn't mean to say like they weren't ever deserving of being there. I just meant like, you know, to get a number 1 spot in the country.
The prominence, maybe.
Competing with the likes of 50 Cent at the time, like that is pretty impressive. Okay, so you kind of missed the whole wave that...
No, I was still here, bro. I'm telling you, I was still here. I've always been part of it. But just don't forget that if you go back to when I started, to the middle of the 2000s, to 2010, I'm the same person. Like, people think that, oh, yeah, you changed. I know, I was always here. Like, when I was in Australia, I was recording tracks with Bracken Records to put on my mix CDs in Australia. So I never really left. I was just all over the joint.
But has your role in terms of, I guess, the facilitator of these big artists coming over, has that disappeared a bit, or is that still, do you still do that today?
I was never the facilitator of it happening, but I'm still end up in the middle of it.
But you're still the guy that
and I'm always
you're in the mix.
End up
people
in the
like
middle of it all.
Connecting people.
I guess so.
Right. So when artists come here, it comes across your table in some way, shape, or form.
A little bit. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I've Blast. I've been on Blast for fucking age. Well, actually, my wife picked up on Blast first, like ages ago, and then now he's coming here, and then my role as music consultant in my firm, we got the song on the playlist, and now he's coming, and he's like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to meeting you because you're one of the guys," that, you know. So I guess I end up in the middle of it by accident.
Right.
I don't do it by design. Heaps of people do shit for clout. I know that for a fact. Heaps of people that have come through my door and gone out that door were trying to get clout, and it just never worked.
Right.
I've never been that person. I just literally don't give a shit.
That's a pretty good attitude to have, actually. No, that's really it's really interesting, man, because I guess you are, and I know it sounds like you don't like to give yourself credit, but we're going to give you credit. You sound like you are a responsible for a lot more than
the catalyst.
Than you like to let
See,
on.
I don't agree. I literally don't agree with that. I was just the right guy at the right time that opened the right doors for the right people. Because if you, for instance, let's have a think about it.
Mm-hmm.
David Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
If you ask David my place within his career, I don't think I have a place. Not really. Like, he might have come up to the True School and freestyle on the radio. That's not me helping him in his career. I just had a radio show that everyone walked in the fucking door. Savage, different. Because Savage was my first MC. He used to be my MC. So if you wanted to give me credit for it, it's because I had a job, but I needed an MC. And he was a good MC. And he got on my set and he was on the mic, and then but he went away and fucking made super hits. I could be anybody in that role. So I understand where you're going with this. I appreciate the love, but it's kind of like, these are all my fucking friends.
But you had a radio station for them to go to, then you opened the door for it.
And not just that.
Yeah, but if anyone was doing that shit,
you're like me, but in reverse. I'm a serial reductionist by nature, and you're doing what I like to do with myself.
No, I just think people people give people too much credit for the shit they do, because I'm a huge believer in talent. I think talent will win the... See, Scribe is Tupac for New Zealand. He's the fucking most important rapper of all time.
100%.
Closely followed by Pori Foimana. Those two, and Shay just behind them, they're the most important ones. Rex is the best rapper, hands down the best rapper. Scribe is the most important figure in Aotearoa hip-hop of all fucking time. I don't think he got there because of me. Don't think he got there because of P-Money. He got there because of fucking talent. That's how he got there. Yep. People helped him create shit. I get it. But he's one of a fucking kind. Pori Foimana is one of a fucking kind. Shifu is one of a kind.
Can we just have that conversation really quickly? GOAT NZ rappers, for me, it's Tom Scott. I rate Tom Scott.
What is it GOAT or favourite?
No. What's the context?
We're talking about the MVP discussion.
We do
previously.
this often.
It's like, what's the criteria? Is it longevity? Is it impact?
For me,
nice.
Is it
for
technical ability?
For me, it's different. I like really intelligent bars. I like really slick lines. I like really punchy lines. I personally, this isn't a competition. I'm just curious as to who your guys' GOAT rappers are. You've said Scribe. Who's yours?
No, you asked the wrong question.
Yeah.
What question should I ask?
Well, there's three. I think there's three different questions.
Let's have them.
It's because this is the LeBron, Kobe, Jordan conversation. This is the fucking Tupac, Biggie, Jay-Z, Kendrick thing. It's different. It's generational. If it's your favorite rapper, it depends how old you are. If it's the best of all time, it's different. If it's the most important, it's different.
True.
Longevity,
True.
Tom Scott wins hands down, bro. And he gets no love for that shit. Like, Tom is no one. If
he gets it from me.
If you look at his timeline, no one can touch Tom. But Tom ain't shit without Scribe, and he said it himself out of his mouth. So it's kind of like, that's why I go. Sorry to cut you off, but that's why Scribe is the most important, because he's the catalyst for all this shit. Paulie set it up. Paulie was fucking John Stockton, but fucking Scribe was Karl Malone, bro, like for real. And then
delivered.
Shay was in the middle there, but he was a singer too, so it's different.
Right.
But then, then the Tom Scotts and all that. Tom was like literally watching Scribe going, okay, that's how you dunk the ball. Yeah. It's different. But then, longevity-wise, clearly Tom is...
It sounds simple saying it after the Master's already done it, but I agree. I would have said Scribe. I wouldn't say Scribe's my favourite, but he's the best. There's not an argument.
Interesting.
It's like Tupac, because like people go to me, who's your favourite rapper? I'm like, Big Al is my favourite rapper.
Big Al.
But who's the greatest of all time? It's Tupac, man. Like, fuck, he moved the needle, bro. Like no one
culture.
It's culture. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. Tupac did for rap, in my opinion, what MJ did for basketball.
I love that. I love that you see MJ.
Oh,
I mean,
I was about to reach over the table.
Don't think I'm
there's all sorts of
not a
discussions
LeBron
you can
lover.
have, but I don't think you can make an argument that anyone's had a bigger cultural impact through basketball than MJ. That's not a discussion at all. And that's someone who will always argue Kareem and other people in their other argument as well.
MJ's a GOAT, 100%. Something I just want to touch on quickly.
Why did you say you don't like LeBron James? What's that about?
He's a Boston fan.
And
They caused his team misery for years.
I respect the LeBron James game.
And
he
then
is
he joins the Lakers.
second greatest player of all time. I just don't like him.
Okay, cool. That's cool. I'm cool with that. So
I'm not a hater.
I was a hater.
Lies.
Why is he a liar? Because he's a Laker now.
No. Legit. I will say I was not a fan of his before the Lakers. I'm still mixed for other reasons, but we've got documented history of you hating on LeBron James. I don't need to pull receipts.
About what though?
I'm not a hater in the sense that I'm blind and can't respect his game and respect his accomplishments. I can do that, but I can also hate on.
He's petty enough to where if you're playing 2K, you're trying to draft the best players, right?
God's
He won't pick
sake.
LeBron James on principle.
Really?
He won't draft him.
I'll
Strategically let him go last because I know he's not going to pick him.
So do you hate him even more now he's a Laker?
Yes. Oh, more 10 times. So.
Why? What? Sorry,
because I hate the Lakers too.
You're a Boston fan, yeah.
Yeah,
for fuck's sake.
I hate the Lakers too.
Like there's all these switches on you, eh? Like oh my god, imagine. You know, one thing I will
logic goes out the window. It's just
so my quick.
I'm an emotional guy.
Clearly,
okay?
so I used to actually hate LeBron James, like legitimately fucking couldn't stand him.
Good.
And
is that why you rocked the Mellow jersey on Major Flavors?
No, because I like the color of it.
Oh, that wasn't by design.
No, it was just a cool color, bro.
Right.
To be fair, it's a sick jersey.
They're baby blue.
That's the silky. I want to say David Thompson.
No, the Denver one. You're talking about the
Is that David Thompson?
No, it was Carmelo Anthony.
Oh, but I mean the '80s one. Like it was a remake of '80s jersey. David Thompson, I feel.
He's got your photos.
No, you're right. Yeah, you're right. Calm down.
He's got photos of you on his wall.
So it took my son. He's 24 now. Ethan. He could probably stat wise took all of us under the table. He's incredible.
100%.
He's incredible, man. So he was the one who turned me on LeBron. He's like, Dad, you're a fucking idiot. You're not like you're not really listening. And then it took me maybe like 6 years, and then I was like, oh shit, he's right. This guy is fucking incredible?
Because if you've seen Jordan in the flesh, no less, is it because you can't see?
No, he didn't see Jordan in the flesh. Remember?
No, I did.
Oh, you did.
That's what I'm saying.
What are you talking about? No, I did.
Oh, okay.
No, he's saying that I saw it.
Yeah,
so no, it wasn't that. It wasn't that. It's because when Jordan retired, I fucking hated the NBA for at least a couple of years. I was just like, this shit ain't the same.
So Kobe, LeBron.
The new Coke just doesn't taste the same. Yeah. So I went to this big, long, and so I had a real problem with Kobe because it was like he was the centerpiece of that. Now I realize I was totally fucking wrong.
To be fair, there was a period where he almost changed his style to like he was paying tribute to Jordan. Almost entirely.
And fair enough. Oh, so, like, if you had a racing car and you want to go as fast as fucking Lewis Hamilton, make that same car.
That is a brilliant analogy. What did Oracle do when New Zealand was destroying them? They copied the boat. They bloody
that was a good idea.
Copied the boat.
Anyway, so I know we've gone way over time, but I was going to say, my son said to me, so what happened? He's like, Dad, you've got it all wrong. Here's the numbers. They all stack up. You've completely fucked this up. And I was like, shut up. And then I watched the finals, and then they came back from, 0 games, and then the block, and then they won. This is why I'm like, Kyrie, he's legit, bro. Come on, man. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you say.
He's not legit.
So when I saw that, I just turned to my son. I was like, you're completely right. I've spent the last 5 years hating on someone who's clearly fucking incredible. So just to send the jealousy off the deep end, my son, he's like, Dad, you saw Jordan play, I need to see LeBron play. And I'm like, cool, when you're 21, on 21st, we'll go overseas and we'll go see LeBron play. So anyway, he gets the block, wins the game. This one's for you. And I was just sitting there going, oh my God, like, you're just completely right. And so I said to him, we're going next year. So on his 18th, I think it was 18th birthday, I took him on the trip of a fucking lifetime, where we went and saw him play in Philadelphia, because Ethan's a big believer in the process. So we sat.
Is he still?
I don't know. It just not.
Doesn't Beach still believe in the process?
It doesn't matter. But basically, we sat. I was sitting here. You're LeBron James sitting there. That's how close we sat to LeBron James. So Ethan's first, actually, that's not true. So I went on this trip. I was like, "You're gonna go see LeBron," and so he literally sat 3 meters from us. But that was supposed to be his first basketball experience, to see LeBron James that close. We were sitting behind the bench.
Wow.
But what happened was we landed in New York, and I looked in the schedule and I was like, oh shit, the Bulls are playing in Philadelphia. Get in the car. We drove down to Philadelphia, and his first game was a fucking Bulls game. The Dwayne Wade Bulls, which was cool. And then we saw them play. We went to Bulls, Philly, went to Cleveland, Philly, literally courtside. Oklahoma City Thunder played the Knicks the next night. Then we flew to Milwaukee. We saw the Bucks. He saw Giannis play LeBron. We basically followed LeBron. And then the next 2 days later, we drove from Milwaukee to Cleveland and went to the home stadium and saw them play the Clippers. Then we drove to Chicago, and they played the Bulls, the Cavs. So he saw LeBron like 6 times in 10 days. So how's that for it's a son-father fucking basketball team.
Probably the greatest thing. That's what I'm going to do with my son one day for sure. Yeah, you're right. We've gone over time, but I want to wrap up quickly. It's a couple minutes. This. All right. You need to, before we get into this, help us settle a petty argument. 50 or Kanye? Rapper, lyrical. Who's better?
50.
Thank you. Okay. Top 10.
I don't like Kanye. Can't stand him. The like post Beautiful Dark, I literally can't stand him, so it's a biased. Sorry.
I'm with you.
You're a Kanye fan.
I'm a little bit of category what you're just talking about post Dark Twisted Fantasy, but I think his work before that as a rapper is still a little bit underrated.
Yeah, it is, but
it's tough.
It's not better lyrically than 50 was.
It's tough.
50's a better rapper. Top 10. Give me your top 5 GOAT rappers of all time.
Big L.
Yep.
Big L is my favorite rapper of all time.
Yep. Who else? Who else is on there?
Biggie, Tupac, Rakim. Too hard. Scribe.
Wow, he makes top 5 all time. To me, who you got?
Yeah.
I'll try. There's no such thing as an objective answer, but I'll try go who I think are the greatest. I think Rakim has to be the first guy, like the OG GOAT. I think you have to put Biggie, you have to put Tupac. I think Jay works in there through long. I'm putting it in as like it's the Kareem thing. He's had so much success over a long period of time. You can't not put him in there. And I think in terms of artistry, it will seem like a recent pick, but I'm going to put Kendrick in there as well.
Okay. Yeah, cool. I've got Nas, Most Def, Park's big for me. He's
the guy.
Park's big for me.
He's the dude.
Biggie, and then I'm liking Lil Wayne. Put Lil Wayne in there. Okay, we're going to do a little activity now. You're going to do a challenge. I'm going to read you some lyrics.
Oh, no.
You're going to tell me the song.
I'm not good at these games. I'm sorry, Jay. So
you should be good at this game.
No, I'm not. Anyways, whatever. Let's do it.
All right. We'll start easy. Okay? So, number 1.
We have to name the song or the artist?
Just tell me the song.
Okay.
Or the artist.
I'm not good at this shit.
And I'm going to try and speak it and not.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
So don't try rap it.
All right, we'll start easy.
I feel like you're a little bit of a rap nerd. I think you're gonna smoke me on this.
I used to be.
He made his own rap songs in high school.
It's fucking. That means he is a rap nerd. What are you talking about?
I'm working 9 to 5. I'm slaving over beats. It's hard work living the dream. I hardly ever sleep.
Oh, I know this.
I'm in the rhythm deep. Yo, just trying to do my thing.
Scribe.
What song?
Dreaming.
Got it. That's one to you.
Thanks for the assist, my G.
All right, I went into neutral.
Number 2. What you trying to be? My new wife? What you Mariah? Fly through twice.
I don't know that. I've got no idea what that is.
Trying to be Mariah. M?
Yeah. What song?
The response to why you're so obsessed with me, but I can't remember what it's called.
No, it's earlier than that. What you Mariah? Fly through twice.
Superman.
Got it. 1 each.
Took me a second. You kind of gave me a hint there. I feel like that shouldn't count.
Okay.
I'm not really an Eminem fan.
Number 3. One of probably my top 3 favorite songs of all time. Or rap. Yo, it's one universal law, but 2 sides to every story. 3 strikes and you bidden for life. Mandatory. 4 MC murdered in the last 4 years. I ain't trying to be the 5th one. A millennium is here.
I know that song. I fucking don't know what it is.
I know the artist, so I'm not going to say it because it's going off of earlier.
Just say the artist.
Yeah, because it's the first to spit it. Go.
Mama said knock you out?
No.
It's the other way around. It's Cannabis.
No. No takers?
No.
Is it LL Cool J 4321?
No, it is Most Def Mathematics.
Say it again.
Yo, One universal law, but two sides to every story.
Well, that's the hardest part of the song to pick up on. Fucking hell, really?
No,
that could be. Yeah,
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was the easy. Anyway,
that could be 10 crack commandments. That could be anything.
2 more.
Anyway, we failed, bro.
You got
good.
It's one each. Make a note on the rhythm we gave you. Feel free. Drop your pants. Check your hair. Do you like the garments that we wear?
Oh my god. Say it again. I fucking know this, bro.
Make a note on the rhythm we gave you. Feel free.
Oh, it's Try Cool Quest.
Yes, song.
Take your hand. Take your hand. Oh my god.
Can I kick it?
Yeah, got it.
Oh,
took me a second.
All right. This is, if you can get this, you tie it up. If you can get this, you win.
Why did I give you assist, man?
Look, this one's hard. This one's hard.
Magic.
I run around your team. You a player, but I'm Naismith. I command V while you copy. I just paste it. Face it.
I think it's the way he reads it. It's annoying.
Yeah, you don't get a sense of the flow at all.
No,
he's
trying to do that, but I'm just saying it's like it's almost.
This is a hard one because it's a freestyle. It's a freestyle, so just give me the artist.
Run it back.
Big L.
I run around your team. You a player, but I'm Naismith. I command V while you copy. I just paste it. It's the slick line.
Logic?
No. If you can't get it,
I'm down. I've given Logic, so I'm out.
You've got to get this to tie it up.
I don't know.
It's a little dicky freestyle. I'm swearing.
This guy.
Hey! Don't hate the bars, man. You need it.
Who the fuck has heard that freestyle before?
Have you not? If you do one thing tonight, it's go and listen to Little Dicky freestyle.
It's not
Sway in the morning.
It's not happening.
2 of them. Yes, it's a piss take, but
It's
the bars,
not the
man,
best.
the bars
It's not
are
the best
slick.
phrase.
Anyway,
It's not the best way
you win,
freestyle.
Tim. I don't know how the hell you won, but you won.
Before we wrap this up, do you want to know a funny story?
I want to know.
100%.
My favorite player of all time was a Boston Celtic.
It was.
My favorite player of all time was a Boston Celtic, not
Was.
a Bulls player.
Let's guess.
Parrish?
No, you won't get it.
Hondo.
No. Hell no! Oh my god.
Not Rondo. Hondo.
No.
If we won't get it, it was most likely Kelly Olynyk.
Oh my god. Think about the time frame.
91.
Man, that's quite a good little puzzle for you guys. So yeah,
I'm going to say, I feel like I want to take, I'm trying to remember, see, this is the fact
If
that
we're
I
not
can't
going to
distinguish
get it, it's
between them.
not one of the obvious.
Reggie Lewis or Len Bias?
fuck, you're good. You're real good.
Who was it?
Reggie Lewis.
Oh,
Wow.
I was trying to remember.
Man,
I was trying to
He's
remember.
good.
I was like,
He is good.
That was good.
He is good. And that is us. Thank you so much for coming in,
Thank
man.
you,
I
guys.
really
Yeah, it's
enjoyed
been
that. That
awesome.
was absolutely epic. Just before we head out,
The Lakers suck.
Sad.
see you later.